it's Andrea Tooley. Thank you so much for watching this video. It is October, it is fall, I'm in a cozy sweater, and I want to talk to you about one of my favorite things that happens in October and November, and that is the American Academy of Ophthalmology's annual meeting. I know it sounds like a funny thing to be talking about, but I absolutely adore the Academy's annual meeting, and I think that any subspecialty that you're in medicine, you have this experience where you have your largest subspecialty meeting and you see everyone you know, you feel very motivated, you learn a ton, you spend several days at this conference, and you come home so invigorated and feeling great. And that has always been my experience attending the Academy National Annual Conference. And I want to share my best tips for conference going with you if you are a new attendee as a medical student or a resident. And I want to share some of my favorite things about the AAO conference in case you're attending this year. So I was lucky enough to attend several conferences as a medical student. I went to ARVO, which is the Association for Research in Vision and Ophthalmology, and that's the biggest scientific conference. It really focuses on basic science, and it's really an incredible conference for showcasing all of your research and all of the new innovations within ophthalmology. I was not able to attend the American Academy of Ophthalmology's annual meeting as a medical student, however. I didn't get to go until I was a first-year ophthalmology resident, or a PGY2, a second-year resident, after graduating medical school. I think there's lots of medical students that are lucky enough to attend the American Academy of Ophthalmology's annual meeting, the AAO meeting, or I'll just call it Academy from now on. And so if you're a medical student, you're attending this meeting, maybe you haven't attended a meeting before, here are some of my best tips for having a great time, getting a lot out of the conference, really enjoying yourself, and coming home feeling a new inspiration for your studies. First thing I would recommend doing is planning out the conference in advance. A lot of these conferences are huge, and they take up an entire large conference center in a big city. There's many events and talks going on all at the same time all over the place, and so you really kind of want to be prepared and know what you're doing. If you're lucky enough to attend a smaller conference, for example, I attend our ASOPers conference, which is the Oculoplastics conference, quite a bit smaller, and there's less things to choose from. There's really only one talk going on at once, or even the Women in Ophthalmology meeting, which is another awesome meeting that you should attend if you're able to. Even if you're not a woman, you can still go. And those meetings are smaller, and really there's only one talk going on at once, and so it's not hard to decide what you're doing because there's only one thing to do. But it's something like ARVO or Academy, some of these big conferences, there's a million different talks that you could go to. There's probably 20 or 30 different events going on at once. And so in order to figure out what you're going to do to make the best use of your time at the conference, you really should plan things out in advance. Most of these conferences will post their programs online, or even sometimes mail you the program, or the first day when you go to check in and you get your badge and your bag and all of the information, you get a program that has everything that's going on at the entire conference. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to go through the program. I usually go through with a highlighter or a pen and find everything that interests you and star it or circle it or highlight it. That way you make sure that you know what's going on where at whatever time that interests you, that you know you want to try to attend. Once you've gone through the program and you've found all the things that interest you, and another key tip, make sure that you know exactly when you are presenting if you're going to the conference and you're giving a presentation or you have a poster. Very important to know exactly where, when you're presenting, and what time you need to set up your poster, because sometimes you have to set it up very early in the morning, like 6:30 a.m., and so you want to know where to go, what time, all those kinds of things. So really get prepared beforehand. If you're going to the Academy meeting this year in Chicago, I would highly recommend making a special point to attend all of the Young Ophthalmology or YO events. You'll be able to see them designated as YO events in the program, and these are events that are specifically curated for ophthalmologists in training, medical students, or people who are within the first 10 years out of their training. These sessions are going to focus on things that are important to us, like different things that we need to know as trainees, building your practice, how to negotiate a contract, how to get your first job, billing and coding questions if you're new to practice and you need to learn how to do things like that, and then even just important educational things. There's also a ton of great information about international work, which young ophthalmologists are also interested in, all kinds of things like that. So highly, highly recommend that you make a point to attend as many of the YO events as you can. For any subspecialty meeting that you're going to, whether it's a cardiology meeting or a GI meeting or an orthopedic meeting or whatever, you should be able to find some kind of young group for people who are trainees or early in their career. As a medical student, it's great to attend these events as well because you'll meet other medical students and you'll meet residents. My next tip for attending conferences is to really make an effort to learn. Some of these conferences will give you incredible amounts of information, and they're often CME accredited, so they can work for continuing medical education credits, which we don't need to worry about as trainees or as medical students, but you do need to worry about when you're a grown-up and you're in your actual job. But the most important thing is that these are very educational events. They have the latest research, the most important data that you need to know, and it's a great way to come home with a ton of new information that will help you in your practice or as a resident or whatever. At the American Academy of Ophthalmology meeting, they have subspecialty day where every subspecialty, so cornea, glaucoma, pediatrics, neuro-ophthalmology, plastics, all of the subspecialties have their own day, and they give you a ton of amazing information about that subspecialty. When I was a first-year ophthalmology resident, I hadn't decided that I was going into plastics yet, and I actually had no idea what I was going to do. And I knew I needed to pick a subspecialty day, and so I decided to go to the cornea subspecialty day because I thought learning about cornea would be the most useful as a resident, and it would help me the most when I was seeing patients on call or seeing patients in the clinic. If I had a strong background about cornea, then that would really help me. I kind of tried to decide between cornea or retina because I thought both would be very useful as a trainee. That was just my opinion. I'd encourage you to check out any of the subspecialty days. You really can't go wrong. I will be attending the oculoplastics subspecialty day, and so if you want to see me and say hey, come to the oculoplastics subspecialty day. I'll be there all day learning. And so we want to focus on learning and being able to come home with valuable information. So take notes. These presentations are amazing, and they're from people all over the country, all over the world really, who are giving you these fabulous talks with all the important information. So bring a notepad, bring a pen, take notes, and learn. My next tip for attending conference is to network. These are perfect networking opportunities, and I have met so many incredible people at the Academy meetings who have really helped me in my career. They've helped me get involved with committees with the Academy. They've helped me meet other people who are very helpful, and also people who just inspire you and are great friends and mentors to have in the future. Lots of people ask me, how do you network? How do you go about doing this? And it's difficult when you don't know anybody, especially when you're a medical student or you're a resident and you're just completely overwhelmed with a huge amount of people at conferences like these. I know that's how I felt when I was a first-year resident. And so the easiest thing you can do is just to take it step by step. So if you have a mentor who's at the conference, ask your mentor to introduce you to somebody, or ask your mentor, is there anybody important here that I should try to meet? Or is there anybody important here that you think I should listen to their talk, or anything like that? After a talk, if you hear somebody give a speech, an educational talk that you really like, go up to them after the talk, introduce yourself, say, hi, I'm a medical student interested in ophthalmology, or hi, I'm a resident, and I thought your talk was fantastic, I learned so much, whatever, whatever. Often they'll give you your business card, they'll give you their business card, they'll engage with you, and they could become a mentor for you, you never know. The other thing to do in terms of networking is that if you have particular people that you know you want to meet, then search out those people and see if you can find someone to introduce you to them. So for example, when I went to Academy and I knew I was applying for oculoplastics, there were several people whom I wanted to meet. And so I had my mentors make sure to introduce me to those people. I told my mentors, I'm interested in these fellowships. When we're here, could you introduce me to Dr. X, Y, and Z? And so if you have someone that you know can introduce you to people that you know you want to meet, then try to do that as well. There are so many leaders and so many amazing physicians within the Academy, and so if you go to anything at the Academy annual meeting and you see anyone who's leading a session, anyone who's even introducing a speaker, those people know other people, they're excited to get you involved, and you don't need to be scared or nervous to go up and introduce yourself and say, this was really great, I'd love to be involved, do you have any advice, what do you think because I'm a resident, or anything like that. Everyone wants you to be involved. Everyone wants you to be included in the community of ophthalmology as a profession. And so don't be afraid to go kind of give someone your business card or tell them that you think they're fantastic and that anything like that. There are several female leaders in ophthalmology whom I absolutely adore, and I see them at every conference I attend, and I always go up to them, and I never assume that they remember my name or that they know who I am. But every single time I see them at a conference, I go up to them, I say, hi, I'm Andrea Tooley, I was a resident at Mayo, now I'm a fellow in plastics. It was so great to hear your talk. I think you're fantastic. I just read your last paper and I loved it. How do you do that? How do you balance a career as a woman leader? Anything like this. And I think that I've had so many conferences where I've gone up to these several women, I can think of like 3 specific women leaders who every time I see them, I go up to them and I'm just like, I love you. I think you're fantastic. You know, please, like, I want to be just like you. You're my absolute idol and role model. And now, after several conferences of me just kind of like fanning my adoration onto these amazing female leaders, they maybe kind of know who I am, and they maybe kind of recognize me as their biggest fan in ophthalmology. And so Dr. Fountain or Dr. Colby or Dr. Patel, if any of you are watching this, I adore you. And every time I see you, I just want to be in your presence and soak up your wisdom and be just like you and learn things like that. And that, to me, the fact that I can tell you guys about these leaders that I absolutely look up to, and every time I'm at a conference, I make a point of attending their talk, listening to everything they have to say, and then trying to say hello. If you have any advice or guidance or words of wisdom, I'm all ears. That's such a rewarding aspect of these conferences to me, and I'm so excited for the Academy meeting when I get to see these people who absolutely inspire me and make me want to be better and make me want to learn more. And so I want you to have that experience as well when you find these leaders who you just want to emulate in every way in your career. If you say, I want to have a career just like you, you're going to meet these people and you're going to see these people and be introduced to these people. And so don't be afraid to say hello every time you see them. I try not to be creepy or stalkerish, but I do adore these women, and every time I see them, it kind of fulfills me and makes me want to be better and work harder. So we've talked about planning in advance, knowing what you're doing, being prepared, knowing what sessions you want to go to, and making sure you check out all the Young Ophthalmology or Young whatever events at a conference. Learning, taking notes, learning from all these sessions because there's so much great information to have. And then also networking, finding mentors, role models, leaders, and letting those people inspire you and meeting them. And then I think the next most important thing you can do at a conference is give back. There's lots of different ways to give back to your profession, but attending these conferences really fills me with this sense of community and pride for being an ophthalmologist. And so the ways that I like to give back are, number one, absolutely donate some money. Even as a resident or a medical student and now a fellow, just a small amount of money. Every year I donate like $20 or something like that to one of our funds that helps ophthalmology at large, and there's tons of different ways that you can donate. But just a small amount of money, I think it just kind of throws your hat in the ring and gets you a little bit more involved. So don't think that just because I'm a medical student or just because I'm a resident, you can't spare 20 bucks. There's some way that you can kind of make it work, and I think it's a really good way to give back to your profession. And there's lots of professions that expect donations and things like that, and in medicine we kind of shy away from that, but I'd really encourage you to kind of step it up and donate to your profession. It's a really good thing to do. The other way that you can give back is by mentoring and leading other people. And so every step of the way, there's always someone who's younger than you or someone who's behind you. So even if you're a resident, there's medical students who need help. Or even if you're a fellow, there's residents who need help. And even if you're a brand new attending, there's fellows, residents, and medical students who need your help. And so even if you feel like you're young or early in your career, there's always people that you can mentor and help introduce to other people, or help give a project, or help point them in the right direction, or show them which way the conference is, or anything like that. So don't be afraid to give other people some help. If I see you at the American Academy of Ophthalmology Conference in Chicago this October, then I want you to say hi. I will try to mentor or help you in any way that I can. Don't be afraid. Please definitely say hi. And then the last way that you can help or get involved and kind of give back to ophthalmology is to join one of these committees, one of these task forces, one of these groups, and really serve within ophthalmology. I knew that I felt more fulfilled and I felt excited about ophthalmology when I was participating in the Academy. And so when I was a second-year resident, I joined a task force for the Academy, which isn't even a committee. It's like a way step below that. It's a very small group. And I had just asked people, how can I get involved? How can I get involved? And after asking enough people, how can I get involved? Finally, someone emailed me and said, we found a way for you to get involved. Do you want to do this? And then the answer is always yes. If you're a resident, if you're a fellow, if you're a medical student, this is the time in our career to say yes. So if somebody asks you to do something, do it. So you can find a task force to get involved with, you can find a committee to get involved with. Maybe you're interested in global health and international work. Maybe that's a committee that you can get involved with. Maybe you're interested in advocacy and working on the political side of things and helping advocate for our profession. There's tons of ways you can get involved with that. And so I'd encourage you to kind of find your niche and what you're interested in and see if there's something that you can do to help. Even if you're a medical student, a resident, or a fellow, even if you're early in your career, there's absolutely ways that you can help. After I joined this task force, I was then invited to be on a subcommittee of a committee, and then now I've been asked to be on a committee. So what you have to do is keep working and keep saying yes, and things will happen for you, and you'll feel more involved and more engaged in the society. One of the physician leaders that I mentioned earlier, someone I absolutely admire and adore, is Dr. Tamara Fountain, and I'm going to steal her quote. She says that when you're looking to get involved, you have to do 3 things. You have to show up. So the first thing you do is you just have to go. And I think that applies to when you're going to a conference. Just show up to the lecture, show up to the meeting, show up to the interest call out, whatever it is. The next thing you have to do is speak up. And so raise your hand, ask a question, say that you're going to do something, speak up and say, I want to contribute in this way. And then the third thing you need to do is follow up. So send a follow-up email, send a thank you note if someone really helped you, or if someone inspired you, send them a thank you note. Or if someone asks you to do something, then do it. Follow up. So you show up, you speak up, and you follow up. And if you do all of those things, you're going to have an incredibly rewarding conference experience. Don't forget to bring business cards if you have them, because people will want to know who you are. They'll want to know your email, things like that. If you have business cards, bring them. Don't forget to bring comfy shoes, because you're generally walking around a lot. Some of these conference halls are gigantic. Don't forget to bring professional clothes. I generally wear a suit or a suit jacket. You can never be overdressed at these types of events, and you don't want to be self-conscious about your clothes, so just look nice. Bring a bag, because you're going to be carrying lots of different papers and pens and giveaways and goodies and all kinds of fun things that you'll collect at these conferences. Bring your phone or your camera so that you can tweet inspirational things, so that you can post photos on Instagram and hashtag the conference. Really get involved, be all in. I think these are all great things. You're going to have the best time. I hope that I see you at the Academy meeting soon. I'll talk to you all later. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much. I'll talk to you all later. Bye.